In a quiet town where life moved slowly and dreams were often postponed, three siblings grew up learning early that love sometimes came wrapped in hardship. Joshua, the eldest, carried responsibility on his shoulders long before he fully understood what it meant. Bethany, the middle child, was the emotional anchor of the family, sensitive, observant, and deeply protective. Manny, the youngest, had a smile that hid fears far bigger than his age. Together, they were inseparable, bound not just by blood, but by the music that filled their home every night. Their mother, Mary, was the heart of that music. She sang while cooking, while folding laundry, while driving them to school. Her voice was never trained, never perfect, but it was warm, steady, and full of love. When money was tight and their father worked long hours just to keep the lights on, Mary's songs became a shield against worry. Music was not a hobby in their house. It was survival. Everything changed on a gray afternoon when Mary sat them down at the kitchen table. Her hands trembled slightly as she tried to smile. The siblings sensed something was wrong before she ever spoke. When she said she had cancer, the room fell silent in a way that felt unnatural, as if even the walls were holding their breath. Joshua stared at the floor, Bethany felt her chest tighten, and Manny didn't fully understand the word, only the fear in his mother's eyes. The weeks that followed were filled with hospital visits, whispered conversations, and bills that piled up faster than anyone expected. Mary tried to stay strong, but the treatments drained her energy and slowly changed the woman they had always known. Her hair fell out, her laughter softened, and her singing became rare. That silence hurt more than anything. One night, as rain tapped against the windows, Bethany picked up an old guitar that had been sitting untouched in the corner. She began to strum softly, unsure of what she was even playing. Manny hummed along instinctively, and Joshua, after a moment of hesitation, joined in. When Mary heard them, tears rolled down her face. It was the first time since her diagnosis that music returned to their home. That night marked the beginning of something unexpected. The siblings started writing songs together, pouring their fear, love, and confusion into lyrics. They sang not because they wanted to perform, but because it was the only way they knew how to process the possibility of losing their mother. Music became their language when words failed. As Mary's condition worsened, the siblings made a quiet promise to each other. They would take her songs, their songs, and make them matter. Not for fame, not for money, but so that no matter what happened, their mother's voice and spirit would live on through them. The opportunity came when a friend mentioned auditions for America's Got Talent. At first, the idea felt impossible, almost disrespectful given everything they were going through. But Mary insisted. With a weak smile, she told them that if they were going to sing, they should sing loudly enough for the world to hear. Audition day arrived with nerves heavier than any suitcase they carried. Backstage, surrounded by performers chasing dreams of stardom, the siblings felt out of place. They weren't there to win a competition. They were there to honor their mother. When they stepped onto the stage, the lights felt blinding. The judges asked their names, where they were from, and why they chose to audition. Joshua's voice cracked as he explained their story. He spoke about their mother, her illness, and how music was the only thing holding them together. The audience grew quiet, sensing that this was not just another performance. They began to sing. From the first note, the room changed. Their voices blended with a raw honesty that could not be rehearsed or faked. Every lyric carried the weight of hospital rooms, late-night prayers, and the unspoken fear of goodbye. Bethany's harmonies trembled with emotion, Manny's youthful voice carried innocence and hope, and Joshua's lead grounded the song with quiet strength. The judges watched in silence. Some leaned forward, others wiped their eyes. The audience was completely still, as if afraid to breathe. When the final note faded, there was a pause that felt endless. Then the room erupted. The judges praised their authenticity, their vulnerability, and the love that was so clearly woven into their performance. But what mattered most was that somewhere at home, Mary was watching, smiling through tears. As the competition progressed, the siblings advanced round after round. But behind the scenes, reality was growing darker. Mary's health began to decline rapidly. Treatments stopped working. Hospital visits turned into long stays. Between rehearsals, the siblings rushed to her bedside, singing softly to her, reminding her that she was the reason they stood on that stage. One night, after an especially difficult day, Mary pulled them close and told them something that would forever change them. She said she was not afraid of dying, but she was afraid of them stopping. She made them promise that no matter what happened, they would keep singing together. Days later, Mary passed away. The world felt like it collapsed in on itself. Grief consumed them in waves that left them breathless. For a moment, they considered withdrawing from the competition. Singing without their mother felt impossible. But then they remembered her voice, her insistence, her belief in them. They returned to the stage with heavy hearts and trembling hands. This time, the song was different. It was written for her, about her, and because of her. As they sang, tears streamed freely. They did not try to hide their pain. They let it live in the music. The audience cried openly. Judges struggled to speak. Millions watching at home felt like they were witnessing something sacred, something deeply human. It was not about perfection. It was about love surviving loss. Though they did not win the competition, they won something far greater. Their story traveled across the country, touching families who had faced illness, loss, and heartbreak. Messages poured in from strangers who said the siblings helped them grieve, helped them heal, helped them feel less alone. Years later, they still sing together. They still carry their mother's songs in their voices. And every time they step on stage, they remember why they started. Not for applause. Not for trophies. But for the woman who taught them that music can carry love even when words can no longer